It's a jammed-packed weekend full of sport to look forward to. And for more on what we can expect, let's chat to Simon Burke from our sports desk. Thanks very much, Simon, for joining us.
No, but always a pleasure.
Good stuff. So what's happening on the football front?
Well, we've got so many national teams doing duty now. We've got Bafana. They're waiting for the quarterfinal stage of the COSAFA Cup, but that's kicking off this weekend. We've got Amajita. Tomorrow they'll be playing Argentina in the under-20 FIFA World Cup, so that's a huge deal for them. As you saw, Banyana, they've arrived safely in France. Just too much to keep a handle on, but it's going to be a very busy next couple of weeks.
In terms of Banyana, what are their chances of winning?
Well, I mean, now that the incentives have been put in place, who knows? But no, it's going to be a huge ask for them. They've got to play Spain, they've got to play China, and they've got to play Germany. That's their group phase. They've got a warm-up match against Norway. They lost recently to the USA 3-0. But the key is they've been playing quality opposition. So they've upped the pace, they've upped the tempo, they've upped what they're used to. When it gets time for tournament time, Spain, Germany, China, they're also going to be twitchy. Right. It's not a foregone conclusion. This is what sport is about. It's about upsets. And Banyana, if they focus, determined, stick to their structures, we've seen it time and time again in a tournament environment where it's high pressure, they could do something. I think the trick is not to put too much pressure on them. The fact that they're there, that's huge. It's their maiden World Cup. The fact that they're going to get equal compensation to the men's team, that's a step forward for the women's game. I think a lot of the players in the squad will know a time when they barely got paid at all for playing. So the progression is what we're looking at. And for them to be on the field with big teams and holding their own, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
As I say, sport, anything can happen.
That's right. And then cricket as well?
Cricket World Cup, yes, the Proteas currently in action. Today, they're in action against Sri Lanka at the moment. They're doing quite well with the bats. They're on a surface that is good for acquainting themselves with the conditions of England and Wales. It is a warm-up match. They have another one against the West Indies on Sunday. And then the focus shifts and it's all pushing towards the opening match against England at the Oval in London on Thursday. And obviously we know the Proteas, we know the Cricket World Cup, we know what everybody's going to be talking about. The point for them is to just keep their heads down, keep focused, and see what happens there, because this is the team amongst all teams in South African sport that gets so much pressure put on them when it comes to a World Cup. They don't have a glowing track record, but people are so quick to want to pull the trigger on this side. What I can tell you right now is Hashim Amla looks decent with the bat. I mean, he's not had a bad day today against Sri Lanka. Faf du Plessis as well, Rassie van der Dusen. There are a couple there. Aiden Markram wasn't great. David Miller, not that great. We're going to see what the bowlers are doing. Dale Steyn's not going to bowl today. They're keeping him on ice. He's at that stage of his career where he can't be overexerted, and we do need him for England. I think he's definitely in the coach's plans. So they're getting themselves acquainted with the surroundings in England and Wales, ready for their first match, as I say, England at the Oval on Thursday.
Before we run out of time, take us through what's happening on the rugby front.
Rugby front's very interesting because the Bulls lost today and they conceded 12 points. And that means that the Jaguares from South America, they're now at the top of the Super Rugby standings in the South Africa Conference. So that means all four South African teams are playing catch-up to the Jaguares. And to make matters worse, the Jaguares have a match tomorrow against the Waratahs where they can now extend their lead. They're now level on points with the Bulls, but ahead on points difference. But they can now put the daylight between themselves and the rest of the South African teams in the conference. And that's a very worrying sight for the South Africans, unfortunately. But we do have some big matches to look forward to. As I said, the Jaguares against the Waratahs, that's going to be one that we're going to have to keep tabs on. The Sharks versus the Lions, that's the big one for the weekend. The Sharks are the home team in that one. And then the Stormers are hosting a New Zealand side, the Highlanders. So there's plenty going on, but it's definitely now time, with about 4 matches left for all the South African teams, for them to get into gear if they want to have any chance in the playoffs, if half of them want to actually get into the playoffs.
More to talk about, but not enough time. Thanks very much,
That's
Simon.
how it goes.
That was my colleague Simon Burke. That was my colleague Simon Burke giving us an update on what we can expect over the weekend. That's all from the On Point team. Your weather details coming up.